Hello dear students, you are welcome in this video. Dear students, as you know that we are making videos on multiple choice questions. This is one more video in the same series. We have already made videos on literary theory and criticism. In this video, we are going to extend the same topic, and here I have selected a few critiques for study and I have prepared multiple choice questions on the same critiques. So let's understand these questions. As usual, you need to take a pen and paper and note down the questions, and in front of question you need to note down the answer or option of that particular question. So here we have 20 questions and we have assigned a score to these 20 questions. There are 40 marks we have assigned to 20 questions. Means each question carries 2 marks. At the end, please calculate your score, how many questions you could answer, how many questions or options you could choose correct. So in this way we will understand the select critiques, English critiques. So students, here we have multiple choice questions on select English critiques, and we have selected the critics like Sir Philip Sidney, Dr. Samuel Johnson and William Wordsworth. So all these three critics are important in English literary criticism. So here we have very first question. The following book was composed by Sir Philip Sidney as an answer to the criticism of Stephen Gosson. We have options: A. School of Abuse, B. An Apology for Poetry, C. Timber or Discoveries, and D. Art Poetic. Please note your option. Now dear students, if you look at Sir Philip Sidney, we have made a dedicated video on the same, or Sir Philip Sidney, you can check it out. So Sir Philip Sidney is the first English critic who have systematically gave his opinions through a book, and these opinions or this criticism is very important. It is the initial point of English criticism. Hence, Sir Philip Sidney becomes an important critic and poet in English literature. So please note down your option, and the correct option is B. An Apology for Poetry. So this is the beginning of English criticism. Question number 2. Stephen Gosson attacked poetry on the ground of. Stephen Gosson attacked poetry, and what were the grounds? Here we have options: A. Writing poetry is waste of time, B. It is mother of lies and nurse of abuse, and C. Plato banished poets, and the last option D is all of the above. So please note down your option, and correct option is D, all of the above. So Stephen Gosson is a contemporary of Sir Philip Sidney, and he composed a treatise, and in that treatise he attacked on poetry. He criticized poetry. He criticized poetry due to these reasons. According to him, poetry is the mother of lies. It is the nurse of abuse. Poetry is nothing but the waste of time. We can make our time better by using different kinds of other things than poetry. This was the opinion, and he also stated that Plato banished poets from his ideal state. And to this, Sir Philip Sidney gave reply in the form of an apology for poetry. Next question, question number 3. According to whom poetry is the oldest of all branches of learning, whose milk by little and little enabled them to feed afterwards of tougher knowledge. So who said this? We have options: A. Sir Philip Sidney, B. Ben Jonson, C. William Wordsworth, and D. Stephen Gosson. Please note down correct option, and the correct option is A. Sir Philip Sidney said this about poetry. Question number 4. Sidney shows dash in his seminal work on criticism. So what did Sidney show? We have options: A. Disrespect for rules, B. Respect for rules, C. No respect for rules, and D. All of the above. Please note down your option, and the correct option is B. Respect for rules. So Sidney highly shows respect for rules, classical rules. Number 5. Who defined poetry as poesy is an art of imitation, for so Aristotle termeth it is in his word Mimesis, with this end to teach and delight. We have options: A. Ben Jonson, B. Samuel Johnson, C. Philip Sidney, and D. William Wordsworth. Please note down your option, and the correct option is Philip Sidney. So Philip Sidney defines poetry in this way. Question number 6. What is the end of poetry according to Sidney? We have options: A, to teach, B, to delight or entertain, C, A and B, and D, none of the above. I think this is a simple question. Please note down your option, and the correct option is A and B. So according to Sir Philip Sidney, it is the end of poetry to teach and delight or entertain. Now end is nothing but the objective of poetry, so you will get confused with the word end. End is not the last thing, but it is nothing but an objective. What is the objective of poetry here in this statement according to Sir Philip Sidney? So remember, end means objective or the purpose. What is the purpose of poetry? And here Sidney very clearly states that the purpose of poetry is nothing but to teach and delight or entertain. These two objectives are stated by Sir Philip Sidney. Question number 7. An apology for poetry is first published in. Options are A, 1580, B, 1595, C, 1590, and D, 1600. When did An Apology for Poetry publish? And the correct option is B, in 1595. First An Apology for Poetry is published. Next, Samuel Johnson's critical works appeared in. We have options: A, journals such as Rambler and Rasselas, B, preface to the plays of William Shakespeare, C, lives of the poets, and D, all of the above. Please choose your option, and correct option is D, all of the above. So we find Samuel Johnson's critical works or critical opinions in different types of works. For example, we have journals like Rambler and Rasselas, preface to the plays of William Shakespeare, lives of the poets, etc. Question number 9. Dr. Samuel Johnson is a dash. Options are A, classical critic, B, neoclassical critic, C, Elizabethan critic, and D, Victorian critic. Please note down your option, and the correct option is B, neoclassical critic. Question number 10. Here we have a quotation, and just you need to understand through this word what Johnson wanted to emphasize. We have these words: to judge rightly of an author, we must transport ourselves to his time and examine what were the wants of his contemporaries and what were his means of supplying them. Through these words, Samuel Johnson wanted to emphasize on, and options are A, linguistic approach, B, historical approach, C, formalist approach, and D, socio-cultural approach. Please note down your option, and the correct option is historical approach. So if we think about Dr. Samuel Johnson's criticism, we will find that he lays emphasis on historical approach. According to him, if you want to study any author, any poet, you need to consider his contemporaries and time very carefully, and then you will understand what were the wants, what were the situation there in the life of poet or at that point of time. So historical approach is important for Dr. Samuel Johnson. Next, 11. Who defines poetry as the art of uniting pleasure with truth by calling imagination to the help of reason? We have options: Dr. Samuel Johnson, B, John Dryden, C, Ben Jonson, and D, William Wordsworth. And the correct option is A, Dr. Samuel Johnson. Question number 12. According to dash, the end of writing is to instruct, the end of poetry is to instruct by pleasing. Who said this? Options are A, John Dryden, B, Sir Philip Sidney, D, Dr. Samuel Johnson, and D, William Wordsworth. And the correct option is Dr. Samuel Johnson says this: the end of writing is to instruct and the end of poetry is to instruct by pleasing. 13. Lives of Poets is a systematic account of dash ranging the span of 100 years. So how many poets are discussed there in the work called Lives of the Poets, which is written by again Dr. Samuel Johnson? We have options: A 50 poets, B 52 poets, C 60 poets, and D 62 poets. Please note down correct option, and the correct option is B 52 poets. Question number 14. Who composed one of the seminal works in literary criticism, Lyrical Ballads, and when did it publish first? We have options: A. S.T. Coleridge and John Keats in 1800, B. William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge in 1798, C. John Keats and P.B. Shelley in 1801, D. P.B. Shelley and William Wordsworth in 1802. So please note down your option, and the correct option is B. William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge in 1798. Dear students, this lyrical ballad is a very significant work in literary criticism. It is also important as a romantic work, romantic period work, which is published in 1798. Based on this work, we find the tradition of romanticism goes into a particular direction, because here William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge gave some opinions about poetry. They defined poetry in a different way. What we saw in the neoclassical period is directly broken down in romantic period. The concepts which we saw in neoclassical critic like Dr. Samuel Johnson, we found that some of the things which were put against these neoclassical critics in romantic period. And here we have two exponents, William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge, and this seminal work called Lyrical Ballads. Next question. 15 dash wrote preface to Lyrical Ballads in 1800. Options are A. William Wordsworth, B. S.T. Coleridge, C. P.B. Shelley, and D. John Keats. Please put down your correct option, and the correct option is A. William Wordsworth composed preface to Lyrical Ballads in 1800. This is the second edition of Lyrical Ballads. Next question. Generally, the beginning of romantic period in English literature is considered with the publication of dash. Options are A. Ode to West Wind in 1820, B. Lyrical Ballads in 1798, C. Preface to Lyrical Ballads in 1800, and D. Biographia Literaria in 1817. So when did romantic period begin? And it begin with a publication of a particular work. Please note down correct option, and the correct option is Lyrical Ballads in 1798. Now dear students, actually we find this date is considered by many critics the beginning of romantic period from 1798, but M.H. Abrams, if you look at the dictionary of M.H. Abrams, glossary of literary terms, there you find this date has been not stated 1798, but M.H. Abrams states that the romantic period starts from 1800 to 1832 or next. So this has been given there, but here many critics consider it began right from the publication of Lyrical Ballads in 1798. 17 question number. According to Wordsworth, the language of poetry should be, options are A. simple and unelaborate expressions, B. complex and elaborate expressions, C. philosophical expressions, and D. ornamental expressions. Note down correct option, and the correct option is A. simple and unelaborate expressions. The language of poetry should be simple according to Wordsworth. Question number 18. Poetry is the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings recollected in tranquility. Who said? This is a famous statement or definition of poetry given by a famous romantic poet. So who says this? We have options A. S.T. Coleridge, B. John Dryden, C. Samuel Johnson, and D. William Wordsworth. Please note down your option, and the correct option is D. William Wordsworth. It's a very simple question. Question number 19. Who said flowers of speech to figures of speech used in poetry? We have options A. William Wordsworth, B. Samuel Johnson, C. S.T. Coleridge, and D. Sir Philip Sidney. So here we have flowers of speech which are called as the figures of speech used in poetry. So who says these flowers of speech? Please put down your correct option, and the correct option is B. Samuel Johnson. Dear students, here we have last question, and it is, who wrote the poem Tintern Abbey? I hope this is again a simple question for you, and we have options: A. William Wordsworth, B. Samuel Johnson, C. S.T. Coleridge, and D. P.B. Shelley. So please put down your option, and the correct option is A. William Wordsworth composed this poem called Tintern Abbey. So dear students, these are the 20 multiple choice questions. I hope you understood a lot. Now you can calculate your score, and you can comment your score below in the comment section. I will appreciate your score definitely. So dear students, this is enough for this video. We have completed 20 questions, and I hope you understood all the questions. If you find any problem, any issue, you can comment below. I will answer to your problem. So thank you very much for watching the complete video. Please like this video, share this video among your friends, and subscribe to Literature Simply, and also press the bell notification icon for next updates. Thank you very much.